I wouldn't be hanged for it, if that's what you mean. Who would know that I had killed him? That dream of mine has shown me how. I told you, the day after I'd hit him over the head with a bottle, he had a bad headache. He said so himself. That shows that he can feel, with his waking body, what happens to his body when he is asleep. I shan't hit him with a bottle next time. One night, when I'm dreaming, I shall find myself with a knife in my hand or a gun in my pocket. I must, because I want to so much. Then I shall seize my opportunity. I'll kill him. I'll shoot him like a dog in the heart, and then I shall be free. Some people might have thought that Lord Mountrago was mad. After all the years during which Dr. Audlin had been treating the souls of men, he knew how thin the line is which divides those who are mad from those who are not. He knew that men who seemed healthy and appeared responsible citizens had such strange ideas in their minds when you looked into them that you could only call them mad. If you put them in a madhouse, not all the madhouses in the world would be large enough. Which divides those who are mad from those who are not. He knew that men who seemed healthy and appeared responsible citizens had such strange ideas in their minds when you looked into them that you could only be of any use. Have you asked the advice of any other member of my profession? He said. Only Sir Augustus. I simply told him that I suffered from very bad dreams. He said I was working too hard and advised me to go away for a while. But I can't leave the Foreign Office just now, when the international situation needs all my attention. They can't do without me, and I know it. He gave me something to make me sleep. It had no effect. Can you give me any reason why this particular man continues to feature in your dreams? You asked me that question before. I answered it. That was true, but Dr. Audlin had not been satisfied with the answer. Why should Owen Griffiths want to hurt you? I don't know. Dr. Audlin was sure that his patient was not speaking the truth. Have you ever harmed him? Never. Dr. Audlin saw before him a large, proud man who seemed to think that the questions put to him were insulting. But in spite of that, he made you think of a frightened animal in a trap. Dr. Audlin leaned forward, and by the power of his eyes forced Lord Mountrago to meet them. Are you quite sure? Quite sure. He and I live different lives. I don't wish to say too much about it, but I must remind you that I am a minister of the King, and Griffiths is an ordinary member of the opposition party. Of course, there's no social connection between us. He's a man from a much lower class, so he's not the sort of person I am likely to meet at any of the houses I go to, and politically we are far apart. I can do nothing for you unless you tell me the complete truth. Lord Mountrago's voice was cold. I am not used to having my word doubted, Dr. Audlin. If you're going to do that, I think that to take up any more of your time can only be a waste of mine. If you will kindly tell my secretary what I owe you, he will send you a cheque. Dr. Audlin's face showed no expression. You might have thought that he had not heard what Lord Mountrago said. He continued to look steadily into his eyes, and his voice was serious and low. Have you done anything to this man that he might consider an injury? Lord Mountrago paused. He looked away, and then looked back. He answered in a bad-tempered voice, "Only if he was a dirty, low person." "But that is exactly what you've described him to be." Lord Mountrago was beaten. Dr. Audlin knew that he was at last going to say what he had until then held back. He dropped his eyes and began drawing with his pencil. The silence lasted 2 or 3 minutes. If I didn't mention this before, it's only because it was so unimportant that I didn't see how it could be connected with the case. When Griffiths became a Member of Parliament, he began to make trouble almost immediately. His father's a miner, and he worked in a mine himself when he was a boy. He has also been a schoolmaster. He has the half-formed knowledge and useless dreams of a person of poor education. He's thin and grey-faced and never well-dressed. His clothes are an insult to the house. His collars never clean, and his ties never tied properly. He looks as if he hasn't had a bath for a month, and his hands are dirty. But he is a good speaker, and he has some simple ideas on a number of subjects, and he is frequently asked to speak in the House. It appeared that he thought he knew something about foreign affairs, and some people listened to what he had to say. I heard stories that Griffiths might become Foreign Minister if another government came into power. One day I was speaking last in a discussion on foreign affairs. Griffiths had spoken before me for an hour. I thought it a good opportunity to destroy him, and by God, sir, I did. I tore his arguments to pieces. I showed the faults in his reasoning and his lack of knowledge. In the House of Commons, the best way to attack someone is to make fun of him. I laughed at him, and the House laughed with me. Even some of Griffiths's friends could not help laughing at him. If ever a man was made to look a fool, I made Griffiths look a fool. I saw his face go white, and soon he buried it in his hands. When I sat down, I had killed him. I had destroyed his name forever. He had no more chance of becoming Foreign Minister than the policeman at the door. I heard afterwards that his father, the old miner, and his mother had come to London with supporters from his hometown to hear him speak. So you ruined his political future? Yes, I suppose so. That is a very serious injury that you've done to him. Did on himself. Have you never felt at all sorry? I think, perhaps, that if I'd known his father were listening, I would have been more